The Department of Education in the Free State says it's still consulting with various stakeholders following the announcement by Basic Education Minister Angie Motshekga to reopen schools for grades 7 and 12 next month. SGB organizations have cautioned that protective gear should be provided for educators and non-teaching staff. SABC news reporter Aphumelele Mdlalane is in Bloemfontein with more. Aphumelele, very good morning to you. What are you learning there this morning?
Morning to you, Blaine, and also to the viewers at home. We have come to Lekhaye Intermediate School here in Mangaung location, where we see a principal did make it to school just to check on the situation, and we understand, and we also saw that there's some protective gear that has been, of course, handed over to this school. I'm talking about sanitizer that is already by the entrance when someone is coming in to sanitize their hands. And we also see that at least the general workers came to school to make sure that it's clean, and we understand also that the teachers here, at least the panic is not that much now, and the principal did mention to us that there is a constant communication with the teachers. Come Thursday, they're supposed to be visible at this school, and we also understand that there's 2 classes of grade 7s here, but the principal say that it's only a total number of 78 pupils that will be making come 1st of June, and is saying that is confident with the number of teachers and also the 2 classes of grade 7s. They will be making it. There will be social distancing being practiced at the school because there's many classes, and teachers will be helping out, of course, and saying that he's confident that at least some of the material did come to school. I'm talking about your thermometer for taking temperature. We know that there should be intensive screening that will be taking place when pupils come back to school. And also we saw there's masks that have been handed over to the school, as I did mention, also the hand sanitizers. But when we go around, we can see other schools remain closed. Your high schools remain closed. We don't even see the cars. It simply means that, as the unions did mention, that no schooling should take place. No teachers should be returning to school until measures are in place. We'll have to just look on Thursday as to how is the situation. But as I did mention, that the principal of this school is quite confident because they did receive some of the material, but also saying that there's still panic from parents asking him as to whether the pupils should be coming back to the school or not. But he did give them a right ahead to say that they should be coming back. We will see from then as to how the situation unfolds. There's still panic on the ground, as I did mention, and also the issue here in the Free State. We must also remember that the unions have been talking about the constant running water in some areas like Maluti Apofung, where we know that the situation remains dire, where there is no constant running water. Now, unions, of course, complaining, saying that how will, of course, good hygiene be practiced if there's no running water at schools? And you also did mention, Blaine, that the Department of Education in the province is still in consultation. I guess they will talk to us later on this week as to so that we can find out the state of readiness to the schools here. We know that many schools are in remote areas, and the issue of safety, because children will have to walk long distances to school, and also there's still an issue of scholar transport in some areas, which remain a major concern. Also, we'll have to just understand from the Department of Education as to how is the situation, how ready is the province.
What about the screeners, those that will be brought in to actually check the temperatures, etc.? Do we know the numbers in terms of each school, how many people have been trained so far? What are we learning in that regard?
Unfortunately, at this moment, Blaine, that's one of the important things that we're supposed to hear from the Department of Education, given the fact that numbers of learners differ per school. There's some schools that have less numbers, so simply means it will be, of course, given that it will depend on the number of the school, of the children in school as to how many people will be, of course, deployed to screen, because we know that that's an important practice that should be happening when someone gets inside the school. There should be proper screening. We will have to understand from the Department of Education as to how will that unfold, and in terms of training, whether how far are they, because also it's important that these people are supposed to be trained. But all I can say is that with the Free State Department of Health, we've seen a number of healthcare workers and also the Red Cross on the ground screening, going to malls, going house to house, going to your hotspot areas where there are high number of confirmed cases, not forgetting that Bloemfontein remains the epicenter of this virus in the province. But also the Department of Health did mention that there will be more health workers that will be absorbed in trying to curb the spread of this virus, because they know that now we're approaching winter and there should be all hands on deck in trying to curb the spread of this virus, Blaine.
Aphumelele, with regards to your conversations with parents, are you feeling that there's still a lot of uncertainty with regards to sending their children to school? We heard last night from the president saying that no parent will be forced to send their child to school if they feel that it's not safe. A couple of days ago, we heard from a press conference delivered by the Department of Basic Education saying that if you are indeed keeping your children at home, they need to be homeschooled. Still grey areas with regards to clarity about sending your child to school. What are some of the concerns from the parents?
Blaine, I must really indicate that there's still uncertainty, there's still panic from the ground, from parents. If I can remember correctly, all parents I've been meeting, they've been saying that there is no children that will be going back to school. They can't be risking, whereas there's been, of course, a word from government that elderly people should remain indoors. Now the debate here is that many of these children stay with elderly people that should be, of course, protected to remain indoors. Now the question here is that what's going to happen if these kids go back to school and come back with the virus and give to the elderly people, knowing that their immune system is compromised, they are highly exposed to the virus. Now I can say that there are those parents who are saying, no, we won't be taking our children to school for as long as this situation becomes like this. Also with the word that there's been projections that by November there will be more than 30,000 confirmed cases, of fatalities. So people are really saying that no, they can't be taking their children back to school. It's going to be just a huge risk. And also, even if there's reports that kids, even if they get infected, they will recover. But what about them? Because in most cases, we've seen with the reports that those with underlying illnesses, of course, it's them that have complications of this virus. So on the ground, I can still say there's so much uncertainty. Also on social media, there's big voice hit there where the parents are saying that, reiterating that there is no way that they will put the children's lives at risk, whereas they are sitting at home.
From what you were saying, Aphumelele, we know that the elderly are vulnerable. With regards to children, scientists are still figuring out, what in terms of how they are affected. Initially, the thoughts that children are in terms of the symptoms that they experience, it's lesser compared to adults. But there's something called this multi-system inflammatory syndrome that's going around as well. Scientists are investigating that. So still so many unknowns, and I guess in order to give parents certainty and confidence in sending their children to school, all systems need to be in place in that school in order for that to happen. But we will keep in touch with you with regards to the latest. Thank you very much indeed for your reporting. Aphumelele Mdlalane there, live for us.